the upper left, in the blue on Grespon. For Team Liquid, looking oh so strong in the group stage, it's Clem.
And his opponent spawning down on the bottom right for the Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And we have seen some pretty great tournament results from Clem. I do believe at Valencia he did come top 8. Once again, it feels like whenever Clem gets a really great result, it always gets overshadowed by something else. But this would be really cool if this were the tournament where he finally gets that big offline win that he's been looking for. Get that monkey off his back, so to speak. Because everyone who knows Clem knows that he's got the ability to do so. But let's talk about this series a little bit. We are going to be seeing a high ground 1 Rax expand from ByuN with no scout versus a defensive 2 Rax from Clem. But at the same time, this can very quickly, as we talked about before, transition to an aggressive 2 Rax.
Yeah, absolutely, especially against a greedier opening coming out of ByuN. And, you know, Steadfast, this surprises me actually a lot. Obviously, I don't want ByuN to do his series planning based on any sort of physical issues, any sort of wrist issues, but going for a macro play, going for actually what is, you know, a greedy play against, granted it's Grespon, so you can maybe play a little greedier, but going for a greedy play on game 1, like forcing the late game or forcing the mid game when wrists might be an issue, it's kind of an interesting decision. Although I guess the flip side of that, right, is if you don't go heavy Reaper play, if you force it into the mid game, it's TVT is more about its positioning and decision making than it is micro as much. So maybe I can see both sides.
Yeah, if anything, I think. Oh, hello, Clem. What the? That was really weird. Oh, was he trying to bait to the low ground? I guess so. Okay, it's going to end up... Oh, nice snipe from ByuN. ByuN gets the kill on the second Reaper. This could have been really, really scary if Clem had executed that a little bit better. As it stands, he is still going to be able to get a little bit of damage done. He's got a second Reaper here. What is he... Okay, there we go. He does go for it now. Will kill these 2 Marines as they pop out. There's no starport from ByuN. So he is going to lose... He's going to lose a lot here until this Cyclone finishes. Nice repair from ByuN. It did keep a lot of the workers alive. Clem, he's finding some amazing damage right now.
That being said, okay, then finally the Cyclone's out. So these Reapers, they should just fall. Second one falls. Third one is going to hit the deck as well. Well, actually, it's going to be able to escape. Never mind. The point being is that this was a greedy play from ByuN. You know, he did go CC, or he did go Reaper expand. Finally, the third Reaper will fall. 4th Reaper in this game. Clem committed to this pretty significantly. He's building a lot of Reapers here, and in part because he recognized damage. Given the fact that, first of all, ByuN went Tech Lab first on that factory, didn't stop to build a Hellion or anything like that, and of course built his reactor on the barracks so quickly. The fact that ByuN lost, I mean, he lost 3 SCVs. The Marine count lost a couple more than that, but in terms of true economic damage, only lost 3 SCVs, and more importantly, didn't really have to pull a bunch of SCVs off the line. He's actually really solid as the lock-on is going to get another Reaper down. KDA charge forces things back, but at this point, this pressure from Clem doesn't have a lot of legs. It's got 2 Reapers, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, but with a tank here with a Cyclone, not super viable. I wonder what Clem's doing here. He's going to put him on the right. ByuN's so prepared for this with a Cyclone, though. He knows what's up. Oh, this is beautiful.
It is brilliant. He even builds the depot in case the Reapers had swung around all the way to the top side. That would have blocked this jump-in point anyways. Yeah, Clem is, I feel like he's put himself up a couple of workers, which is nice. But I feel as though, I don't know, maybe he's not quite in his comfort zone. I'm used to seeing some really, really pristine micro, and he's microing decently, but not as well as I think I'm used to seeing from him. Oh, but he is going to be able to get the... Oh, wow. Wow, ByuN gets the save on the Cyclone. Very well done. This is a lot of Marines, by the way, from ByuN, of course. He's got that 2-rack setup, and now Stim is done. Clem, he always tries to force the issue with his micro because he's so confident in it, but trying to do so against a player like ByuN is frightening with how good ByuN's micro is.
Yeah, if an unstoppable force meets an unstoppable force, I don't know what happens there, but anyway, Cyclone gets good lock on. I mean, it does that kind of blink stalker thing. We just kind of bleed away Marines over time. Now, ByuN does have to deal with this Reaper in the main. It actually, oh no, the refinery saves it. So SCV stays alive. No extra workers fall there. What I'm kind of looking at here, Steadfast, it's a 2-on-1. Stim is done. You pointed that out. Combat shields are on the way. It's a lot of Marines. Does ByuN have a timing available to himself? It doesn't really feel like it. And hey, there is no third base. It's not on the, well, it's actually just getting started on the production tab right now. But I guess the big benefit from going for what ByuN has is that he's going to be able to take this on location. And now this drop, though, it goes into the main base. If ByuN is massing his defense at the front, that could be a bit of a problem. ByuN, he smells this out, but it's a little too late. He's not going to see it in time. In fact, I don't know that I don't think he saw it at all, actually.
He saw it for like a frame. He saw one medevac for like a frame, literally. But he didn't recognize it, and Clem will get the full unload in the corner. He's got Stim. He is going to kill a lot of SCVs. This is so much damage coming out of Clem.
That it isn't. ByuN, yeah, he's not really responding appropriately. Now the Marines are going to try to show up at the main base. 10 workers have fallen. There's like 2 Marines going down here. Clem, he picks up, drops, goes once again. Because guess what ByuN's doing? He wants to do the same thing. He's got a double drop on the other side, on the idea that if Clem's on his side of the map, he can be on the other side, but a Cyclone gets a positive lock on even still. The medevacs won't go down, and now here's the question, what can you get, ByuN? Problem is, there's a tank in the mineral line. Clem, by this drop from ByuN hitting so much later, Clem is in such a better position. He loses 2 workers. It's not worth it for ByuN.
No, and that was a brilliant job from Clem right there. He targeted down the medevac very quickly with his Marines before ByuN could really even recognize exactly what had happened. And now Clem moves into the natural expansion. He wants that tank, but ByuN does have another tank in the back and will be able to save his tank. Ooh, I think they're now both hunting for each other's medevac setup, but yeah, they're both gonna kind of miss one another. Regardless, Clem is starting to move out in earnest. Neither one of them built Ravens here, of course, because they did go for the double barracks setup, even if they were different setups. But Clem does have a couple of Vikings, and he's getting into a Liberator now. That's going to give him so much break potential as well. ByuN's got no idea that the main army is here. Clem's going to set up in a brilliant siege position.
Now, the nice thing, because ByuN had the high ground, is he did get a couple tank shots off, but he's down 20 army supply. He's down upgrades here. Clem hit 15 seconds before 1-1, and that is going to be more than enough. The third base is broken. Workers go down. ByuN, oh, this paltry little force is not going to get nearly as much. 2 workers fall. The tank keeps everything alive. And now, ByuN, you're down 50 supply. All of us, well, not all of a sudden. It's been building for a while. ByuN's down 9 workers. He's down half the army supply. The main base is going to get sieged. Clem is looking dominant here in this game number 1.
Clem is that guy. He's doing it here with the micro. I was saying, you know, like, oh man, there's a couple of things. Maybe he could have gotten some more with the Reapers. And Clem promptly was like, all right, Steadfast, I'll show you micro. And he's been decisive. He's been moving forward very impressively. He finishes up his +1 armor. Oh, medevac does get left a little bit in the lurch, but now that the Liberators have arrived, this might just be the end of the game we're coming up on.
Steadfast, the important thing here is, like, what Clem did was not... Clem won this game not off his micro, which was fantastic. He won it because there we go. Clem takes game 1. He won the game because he snuck 2 medevacs into the main base here, and he was able to get... ByuN wasn't ready at all. ByuN was so focused on keeping his third base up, on getting that greed, because, again, he took his third base on location. He wanted to defend it, that even as he sniffed out the possibility, his Marines were just a little too slow. And the problem then becomes is if you are at the 4th base and you don't have medevacs, it is so far to go from the 4th base back into the main. That one decision, effectively, what was it, like 15 workers that went down? That won Clem the game. And yes, his micro started to turn on a little bit. We saw that, but it's the decision-making and the positioning from Clem, which really did well. And that's been the thing I was a little worried about. It's like, yeah, Clem has this great micro or whatever, but that's why he struggled in TVT sometimes. It's kind of the game knowledge and the decision-making that takes a longer to develop. And, I mean, look at what just happened.
Yep, exactly. I've been saying it for a while. He's shored up that problem. Mm-hmm. He's shored up that glaring weakness that he used to have. It is not there any longer. And he's really doing some impressive stuff.
That he has. But Steadfast, you know the good news, if you are a ByuN fan or if you're a Clem fan, you want to see a couple more games, this is still a best of 5. It's only one map, and yes, Clem did look impressive, but I think you take that game back and he doesn't kill however many workers he got in the main. He doesn't get that damage done. The follow-up doesn't happen. The game continues, and maybe we see something else, or at least we get a longer game, and that's always fun. So for now, though, we're going to find our way into game number 2 here, and it's a different map. It's a different time. It's another opportunity for ByuN and Clem to show us interesting things. Game 2 is right here. In the upper left, in the Raddy's up a game, and honestly looked so impressive in that first one for Team Liquid. Clem.
And spawning down in the bottom right for the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. I really am blown away by the lack of proxy 2-racks that we've seen in this tournament. And this, like, there's been so few of them. So few of them. And if anything, it's been all like tiptoeing around the proxy 2-racks. Very few players have actually gone for 1-racks expand setups. But yeah, it's super interesting to see so minimal cheese in this scenario.
I mean, it's given us some awesome games, though. And we see Clem, same thing. Double Barracks, Reaper in the main base, defensive 2-racks Reaper, as you called it. And ByuN, again, he's going to go for the Barracks double gas idea. Interesting. So this is kind of fun, right? You can go about this 2 ways. You build a couple Reapers, then you build your reactor or your tech lab, and you go from there. But because this is because of the size of the map, and more importantly, I guess this is just what ByuN wants to do. He's comfortable in his ability to hold his main, and on top of that, he's not going for a quick expand. By getting the reactor like this, you actually can match a 2-racks Reaper. And most importantly, you have your production. It gets really nice on top of that. ByuN has trapped an SCV, though. It's not great. He's going to have to lift the barracks for a second. And given what's happening here, that really shouldn't make the difference. But I wonder if that's 3 seconds or whatever it was that you lift up and you drop, whether that is going to make the difference in the hole.
That actually could be a bit of a factor here. Now, Clem is going to jump in. Oh, okay, there we go. He will find the little sweet spot. Sees that it's a reactor. But ByuN, I was going to say, is he going to actually build a command center on the low ground? Yes, he will. Clem, okay, he sees this and he is not building a Reaper. Yeah, no, okay. He is wisely getting the command center, cuts the Reaper production, and instead will go for the command center before this. Will add on more Reapers afterwards, but he wanted to start the command center before this. He realized, yeah, the chance of me actually finding any value here is very low on the aggression. So I'm just gonna kind of nip the build in the bud, and I think that's a really wise move.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. So he's going to go up to, what is that? He's going to go up to 5 Reapers, which is, again, a really interesting number. 6 is nice, 4 is nice, or 6 is nice, 3 is nice, 2 is nice. 4 and 5, they really don't make that much of a difference, but as you called it, it's the spare tire. And, obviously, more damage is always nice, but in terms of breakpoints, it's that spare tire that gives you some power. And now ByuN has got to feed himself right into it. One Hellion in the front is going to take a lot of damage here. Looks for the lineup, doesn't find it. Reapers, they're starting to fall. 3 on 3 here, but you're going up the ramp, ByuN. It's not going to work out. Hellion moves forward, gets a little bit more damage, but it's a wounded Hellion versus not ByuN. He senses opportunity, though. Just out micros Clem. And at the end of the day, is this going to kill anything? No, but it shuts down any counter pressure that Clem may have had.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason he built that 5th Reaper is he was specifically looking at that 4 Reaper, 2 Hellion timing. He was concerned about that. And I mean, even with the high ground advantage and the, 5 Reapers, 1 Hellion versus 4 Reapers, 2 Hellions, which with the defensive concave, you should have the advantage in. Yeah, like you said, ByuN actually did out micro Clem there a little bit. He got the extra Reaper kill. That's notable, and Clem additionally chased when he really didn't need to. Now we are going to see a little push coming across the map. This is funky because it's a medevac. There's no siege tank with it. There is going to be a cyclone, but I'm a little bit confused by this. Maybe he's going to hope for a supply depot that's on like the left side of the base here that he could lock onto, or maybe he's just going to check in the front and see what he can find. as it stands, there might be an opportunity to find something.
So he gets a lock on one Marine. That's not great. And actually, oh, he's going to move forward, though. He doesn't get, his Cyclone does not get locked onto. So now, positive lock on the, oh, he gets saved. Yeah, actually, damage not on the Cyclone whatsoever. So he's going to have to settle for workers. 2 workers will now fall, and the Cyclone falls here as well. So ByuN gets 4 workers. Medevac stays alive. Doesn't really get that much damage done. But honestly, you know, Steadfast, if I'm looking at this and you remove the nameplates, this move out that we saw ByuN go for, more than anything else, it reminds me of last year's Clem's TVT. It's the kitchen sink move out. It's like, you know, I got some stuff. Let me see. I'm going to get a medevac on top of it. Let me see if I can do something. And hey, you know what? It bought him a little bit of a worker lead. Unfortunately, the tech got reset a little bit. You lose the Cyclone, but at the end of the day, kind of a wash.
Yeah, it's definitely a funky setup overall. Clem, is he gonna wait? He's not gonna send a tank with this, is he? He's just waiting for a couple more Marines. But yeah, he does have, of course, the 2-1-1 setup behind this, so these medevacs will move out, losing the few Marines that he did, because he's lost 7 Marines at this point in the game. That really does undercut this timing that he's going for, but if he can get unloaded into the main base, same as in the previous game, which he won't, because ByuN has vision of his full base, so good job from ByuN, making that, fixing that mistake from the previous game. But if you could get unloaded, it would be very good here. Now we are going to see ByuN. Yeah, he jumps on this instantly. So Clem's build, it's not going to achieve anything really. Might be able to find. Oh, he goes for the reactor right away. I do like that.
Yeah, I didn't think the Marines had arranged that, but they will. So it's going to get a supply depot. It's going to force the barracks to move away. It's going to get a reactor. That's always nice. But ByuN has something in the main. Was that just a Reaper?
It was 2 Reapers. 2 Reapers found a couple of SCVs, it looks like.
Okay. Hey, you know what? For this stage in the game, getting a couple workers and a full scout is always going to be very nice. And now this timing where Clem has stim and ByuN really doesn't, it's starting to time out. ByuN, stim done in about 20 seconds here, but I don't like this. Clem surely knows of ByuN's proclivities for regression. This army's still on the map. Clem is actually running across the map, sprinting across the map right now. Does he know, though? Is this just an educated guess? He's actually going to move to the... Okay, he's just posturing a little bit. I thought he was going to...
He's got no idea. There's no way.
No way.
There's no way he has any idea. This is such a wild move from ByuN. If Clem did know, he would go straight into the main base, camp his opponent's production, and it would be a base trade with first mover's advantage. But as it stands, we are going to see this drop coming into the natural expansion. Clem is so far out of position, he needs to go for the instant base trade, but it is a scary prospect to do so. He's hesitating with these units. We're going to see both engineering bays being denied. Clem, as it stands, does have combat shields against no combat shields for ByuN, but he is focused on the defense at home. Oh, that interference matrix was so good on this siege tank. Clem will have the tank waking back up, but he is in a lot of trouble.
That he is. Now, meanwhile, on the other side, this is a solid push from Clem. He finds his way into the natural. But, oh, man, ByuN, he's got his main base so sieged up here. That's another fantastic interference matrix. And by the way, the natural orbital, it's burning. ByuN managed to get his out. He got all the SCVs out as well. So at this point, I mean, ByuN's into the main base faster. I don't know how much, well, actually, he's going to be able to get a whole lot more. The reinforcements are not strong enough, not yet. And yeah, you're right, Steadfast. Combat shields versus none, but Clem, he has to give up the pressure. He's got to run home. Meanwhile, we're seeing tech labs go down. We're seeing a starport get denied here. 1-1 got denied. ByuN is just, he's got everything he could possibly want in this game. Okay, that looks like the orbital did survive, but ByuN is getting, I mean, will it? No, it's going to burn down here. Clem has to save that. He's going to go for the break right now. Raven has to get away at the very least. ByuN picks up all of his Marines. Medevacs will fall. Raven falls as well. I'm unfortunate here, but he's going to be able to have vision of this dead and burning command center. It's got 13 HP. SCVs have got to find here in time. 3, 2, 1.
No.
It's dead. Almost. And ByuN redrops. Oh, I like this.
This is such a smart move from ByuN because now Clem, he loses a siege tank as well. He's going to potentially lose another one right here. You see the SCVs being pulled very quickly. Decisive from Clem, but ByuN recognizes that there was a third command center from earlier. He drops to the low ground. He's going to massacre these SCVs, and he can just kill this command center, I think, as well.
There's a tank.
Actually, no, the siege tank on the high ground will cover, but now these SCVs, oh no, they go back into it. All of them die. And Clem must win the game pretty much right this instant.
And there is not a world where okay, maybe there's a world. Infinite possibilities in the multiverse, but ByuN's on 1-1. ByuN has combat shields. That upgrade advantage is not there. He's got this so well sieged. Clem is not going to break this. So
no.
He's got to win the fight. He can't win the fight, but he's still in this game somehow. He's going to, I mean, again, you lose this series, you lose your tournament opportunity. So he's going to have to try to go for it, stay in until the very last second, but Steadfast, this is
yeah, he's done everything he could have potentially done. It's not going to happen here. We're going to see the orbital command getting taken down here, and there it is. GG gets called. ByuN will even the series at 1 apiece.
All right, so game 1, we saw Clem. He won the game because he got a double drop it and got infinite damage, or a significant amount. And then, of course, nice follow-up. Sure, fine. Game 2, ByuN, shoes on the other foot. He gets a drop. Actually, I think it was a triple drop, whatever it was. On the other side, he gets the damage done. He forces the base trade, and it was so dangerous to do so. It was a triple medevac drop, actually. Yeah, he added more later. It was a triple medevac drop, taking all of his tanks, all of his bio, or a lot of his tanks, a lot of his bio, the Raven, as well as Clem was the one that playing on the aggressive, which very easily, if Clem had any notion that this was happening, you run into the natural, you kill ByuN when everything's in the air, and that's a very different game. But instead, ByuN, nice game sense, figures it out, and now we're tied up at 1.
Yeah, and it's not just about that. Like, it's not just the natural. Even he could have boosted into the main base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even as the drop came into the natural expansion, if he had been decisive and gone straight for it and said, "You have 3 full medevacs, 2 siege tanks, and a bunch of Marines out on the map," and he just goes. Even if he takes a few losses, he actually camps his opponent's production before his production gets camped. And then he doesn't need to go down to the natural expansion where he got that tank super awkwardly interference matrix, which then, because of its exact position at the very bottom of the ramp, there was like a bunch of Marines that were just kind of derping around it, and they took a bunch of damage. It would have been totally fine for Clem there, and he could have just sat on one base while he kills his opponents, everything.
Yeah. Very massive opportunities for Clem, but to take advantage of an opportunity, you have to know that it's there, and you have to have the game sense or the scouting. I mean, obviously, knowing something is far better than guessing something, even as we do talk about how solid some players' star sense is. But it's Royal Blood. We're going to be moving into map 3 soon, and we said it before. We're going to say it again. It's a new opportunity. By the way, bit of an update. In Classic and Estrella and their other series to figure out who is going to be in the round of 8. Estrella is currently down 1 map, and it seems like that Classic is poised to take a second one. So,
yeah.
No guarantee, but it seems like Classic is putting himself in really solid position to round out our round of 8, as well as the victor of this series. So that's, hey, we're guaranteed to get a Protoss, but seeing how many Terrans there are, putting Classic up against it is a really solid move. His PvT is really nice. What's also nice, though, is the fact that we have our third and final game. Our third game here to figure out who in the world, who out of these 2 players is going to put us on series point, on playoffs point. So let's get into game 3. In the bottom left, in the blue, it worked out in game 1. It did not quite in the second. Let's see if he can do it here. It's Clem.
And his opponent spawning up at the top right for the Shopify Rebellion. Fighting back in that one with a wild attack. It is ByuN. And yeah, no, I don't think it's reasonable to say like Clem should have, just boosted into the main right away. But I do think I would have liked to have seen him go for a big, that big drop when he saw the attack come into his natural. I think that's when you need to have the game sense to make that move. But it is really difficult to do that. You know that if you do that and it backfires, you lose the game right then and there. But at the same time, if you don't do that, you're probably going to lose the game anyways if you're not decisive with a counterattack, Like, it's going to be so difficult to dislodge what his opponent has, but it is really difficult to make those correct calls under the gun. And yeah, I don't blame Clem for not doing so.
No, but you're right. The problem was he didn't do anything. Run back home, run across the map, do something. And we saw he didn't know what to do. He was waffling. He just, yeah, it was fun watching that. You go look at it at his army, and he just unsieges the tank. Doesn't do anything else with it. Just has everything sitting there. And as I got by way of analogy, when we talk about APM, players playing fast, certainly as players go up the ranks, what you start to realize is APM is, part of it is, especially at the top level, is actual speed. But part of it also is players learning what to do in any given situation. You don't spend time thinking, you just start doing. And Clem there, he didn't have the algorithm, he didn't have the program about what to do, so he waffled. He didn't make a good decision, and now, well, first of all, in this game number 3, his natural will get denied, and it's interesting. As we look at what's happening here, that 3 games in a row, Clem is going for this double barracks play. It worked once. Second game, not really. And third game, well, we haven't seen the value of it yet, but it should at least delay the command center. Now, as I say that, Hellion's out, though. Yeah, it's not. Actually, never mind.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Clem, once again, maybe he was a little bit more decisive, could have gotten something done. Interestingly as well, if he'd continued to pump Reapers, maybe there would have been an option to find something additionally. As it stands, yeah, like, all he's doing is kind of delaying his tech. Of course, it's keeping him safe against a potential proxy 2-Rax Reaper. But at this point, if I'm ByuN, like, I'm just not going to do that because Clem's done this now 3 games in a row. And that is, like, really, like, it's self-inflicted damage if you don't get anything done on the counterattack. I don't know. But at the same time, maybe Clem wants to go into this 2-on-1 follow-up type of thing. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I could see it if that was what he wanted to do.
I mean, we saw the value in game 1, right? Double drop, found value, forced ByuN on the back foot, and, you know, the game did snowball from there. But now looking at game, I mean, ByuN seems to have, if not solved it, right, it still has the opportunity. Now that he's got it on his radar, it's one of those things where, yeah, it works once, because maybe that's not how TVT tends to get played. But now that you've got it on your radar, we saw the evolution in game 2. He had a supply depot on the edge of his base. He had structures. The Medivacs couldn't boost into the mineral line without getting scouted out there. So we see that again, by the way, supply depot in the main base from ByuN. But now ByuN is the one that wants to get aggressive here, going for a tank drop. Remember, this is how Gumiho beat Maru in game number 4, and he's going to drop on top of things. This is an aggressive siege tank here, and ByuN's not even going to siege it first. He wants to get it even closer. There's the siege. Army has to retreat, and you need a lock-on on that tank, and most importantly, Clem doesn't have anything on the map. There can be no flank here. This is a serious problem.
It is a huge problem. This is actually just gotten so much damage done already. The grenade hit like 15 units between the SCVs and the army. ByuN is all over Clem in this game number 3. He's up 20 supply already. He isn't going to rally in Vikings the way Gumiho did in the previous game, but he is getting this command center very low on HP. Clem, if you click on the command center, he's got 4 SCVs queued up there. He is in panic mode right now. He's going to go for the break attempt. Nice hot pickup on this. Oh, the command center, if he targets it, he could kill it, but he's actually just going to win the game straight up. It's over. We're going to game 4.
Jesus, ByuN. Like, it's not fair. I said this after the laser series, after game 2 of the laser series, but ByuN, despite his wrist issues, and clearly, I mean, we had to take a break after game number 3 or game number 2. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a second here. We saw it happen in the laser series. Actually, no, that was a monitor. Anyway, point being, despite the wrist issues here, ByuN seems to have been able to, whether it is by taking breaks, by playing on the B stream, I don't know. It seems like he's been able to learn to play through the pain in a way that we have not seen in an offline tournament in a while. Normally, you're just like, okay, well, he maybe makes the round, he makes a round of 12 or something, and then we just don't see that quality. But ByuN just, heart of a killer there, finds his way in, dodges the Cyclone lock-on, gets the pickup, gets the drop-off, micros appropriately, and kills Clem in 5 minutes. And that's not how TVT has been going for the last couple months. I mean, occasionally, but not a ByuN in Clem's caliber, not often.
No, like basically never. And very impressively done here by ByuN really playing decisively, really just laying it all on the table, saying, this is my micro, you got to deal with it. And I mean, he took that aggressive siege position. You know what? Now is the time for ByuN to drop the proxy 2 racks, because if I'm Clem, I'm going to be like, all right, fine, you're just not going to do it. Like, okay, it's fine, whatever. Like, I won't keep kneecapping myself, because with the 2 rack setup, you don't have that quick factory. You don't have the same defenses. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, but for now, Ancient Cistern is the 4th map, and ByuN is 1 map away from the round of 8 and a date with someone even scarier. But that's how these things go. That's why it's fun. Game 4 is here. And on the bottom left, he's up 2-1. Doesn't seem to be proxying. Sorry, Steadfast. For the Shopify Rebellion, it's ByuN.
And his opponent, spawning up at the top right for Team Liquid, it is the Blue Terran player, Clem. This is, yeah, I don't know. For the amount of proxy 2 racks as we've seen historically, this is ludicrous that we've seen so few in this tournament. I just, maybe it's a you know, gentleman's agreement. They're like, okay, we don't proxy 2 racks anymore. You just don't do it.
I mean, I do like it though, right? Clem has been playing very defensively off that, right? You know, the two racks Reaper idea. So beyond it, you could proxy absolutely here. You train Clem that you're not going for it, but instead, it's Ancient Cistern. It's a long rush distance. Might as well go Reaper expand. Might as well just get a little greedier. You just killed Clem in 5 minutes. The fear of God is in him now. Get greedy. Get that natural down. Put it on location. Don't even put it on the high ground. And if Clem doesn't call your bluff, which, by the way, he's not really. There was no 2 Reaper play, nothing like that. You're just ahead. Now, of course, Clem can call the bluff later on. You can go with Reapers and Hellions and things, but for the moment, this is a very standard opener from Clem.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's the double gas factory expand. We are going to be seeing that coming on in. Now, ByuN, he has looked really decisive in this series. Clem looked good in game number 1, but it feels like since then the edge has kind of been taken off a little bit. Now, he will get into the main base, will find an SCV. That's actually really nice. And that's the kind of like decisive play that I want to see from Clem. Oh, and he actually rotates over here. He's gonna, oh, okay. He's got to be a little bit careful, but ByuN also has to be careful. He knows that there's potential of a second Reaper coming across the map very shortly. Ooh, Clem really wants to get the denial on this command center, but ByuN, he knows that that's the goal. Oh, okay, he's good. Yeah. But he will get another SCV.
That being said, though, Steadfast, 2 SCVs, not delaying the command center. Well, I mean, half a sec, like a 1/10 of a second, right? Because he had to pull the SCV onto the safe side of the command center. This is Reaper expand. That is not enough, even as Clem is up 2 workers.
No,
I mean, the orbital is so much faster. What are you looking at?
I think that's enough. I think that's enough damage to offset a Reaper expand 2 SCVs if you don't lose anything for it. Yeah. You've definitely done enough to offset it. It's that's all it does is offset it, but 2 SCVs is a lot early on for sure. And once we'll see that it'll basically equalize the double SCV production, will bring us back to even, you know, as this orbital command finishes up. Of course, ByuN has the quicker mule, which is nice, but I'm willing to call it even Stevens here.
That's fair. Now we see ByuN. Actually, Clem, we talked about how I think it was game 2 where Clem and ByuN did very similar things, right? The kitchen sink drop. You run across the map with a Cyclone, some Marines, you know, XYZ. And ByuN and Clem are both doing the same thing. Although this time, the Cyclone is not there for ByuN in this army, and ByuN scouts it out as well. So he's going to be able to bait it out here. He knows what's happening. Clem does it. This is a beautiful position for ByuN. Right now, it's only 6 Marines. Fine, sure. But Clem's committed everything to the drop. Nothing. It's 1 Marine back at home. A couple more on the way. ByuN, he's here faster. He can get damage done, and he knows what's happening, so he should be able to defend on the other side. Couple workers go down. Call it 3. And even if he doesn't get more than that, as long as he keeps himself in a good position, which Okay, dropping the main base. Good lock on there. ByuN gets onto the medevac. Look, keeps his Cyclone alive in the medevac. Oh my, Cyclone's still alive here. What?
That's so obnoxious. Clem wasn't able to get the kill right there, and that is a huge advantage coming in for ByuN now. Clem dove so deep for that. He probably should have just gotten out of there. The natural expansion, the siege tank held the line. This is now a gigantic advantage for ByuN going into the mid game. We've already got a significant worker lead. Viking is going to pop out momentarily. Oh, lock on should get the pick off on this medevac. Yeah, he's not even going to get the unload. I do like that he tried to get out because there's a good chance there's going to be a Viking coming on down. And now, because he tried to escape, the Viking is kind of irrelevant. All he's done is delay his Raven production, actually.
Yeah, so taking stock here, even losing that medevac, ByuN is in a wonderful position. You got 8 workers.
Yeah.
Clem got like 1 SCV on the other. In no world is that worth it whatsoever. So ByuN is up, what is that, 7 workers right now? Army supply down a little bit, but again, that's not really relevant in TVT right now. So Clem wants to find more. He feels the need to get pressure, but ByuN, he sieges up a little further than Clem expected. So Hellion falls, Cyclone takes damage, and this pressure doesn't really have viability, doesn't really have relevance in this game anymore. But it's such a small thing, Steadfast. You don't siege up in your base, you siege up right outside of where a wall would be. Clem wasn't... Who does that? Clem was in no way expecting that.
No, he wasn't. And I mean, it's these little things. When you're a player like Clem, who a lot of his game plan revolves around winning via margins, winning via marginally better trades over the course of a very long game. If as ByuN, you can take those little advantages instead and be the one who's like, okay, no, you try and step into me, I'm stepping into you. I mean, you're kind of technically speaking hard countered in terms of styles. That's not to say Clem can't win this game, but ByuN is definitely approaching this series in an exceptional way, and he's doing very well against ByuN ByuN is doing very well against Clem right now. Now, I do like this little Cyclone on the ramp. Same concept, just, find some value. I do want to clarify that, like, Clem still got plays to make, and he is going for this 3 racks before 3rd CC, as well as that +1 weapons and the quick stim combat shields. So there is going to be a timing where if Clem can fight head-to-head in Marine versus Marine, he could find himself with a very nice opportunity.
Oh, look at that KDA charge.
Grenade.
Secures the... ByuN is on another level right now. And by the way, you talk about this timing. Absolutely, it's powerful. Clem has +1 stim combat shields, all finishing up within, 10, 20 seconds of each other. Actually, even less. It feels very much like a TVP build. The problem is, Clem is committed to this. His 3rd base is very late. ByuN's on 5 racks. He has all the production he needs. He just needs to hold on for a little bit, and with the high ground here, I mean, are you gonna run up as that ramp as Clem? You gotta disable the tank first. No. And shots are already coming in. They're raining down.
That split, though, from Clem was so
beautiful.
Clutch.
Yeah.
That was actually such a clutch split. We're about to see, interference matrix on the Raven. So smart right there. Disables one of the disables instantly. We are going to see Clem sprinting forward. We'll be able to grab one of his opponent's tanks. Another one does go down, but ByuN takes an excellent start to this fight, and he is so far up in workers. Interference matrix not going to be able to lock this tank in. It will still go down, but ByuN has bought so much time by fighting far in front of this base. And the sensor tower, it is going to go down eventually. Actually, wow, not even yet. Clem is just so far behind right now. ByuN's
up 23 workers, and that big supply gap that Clem was looking to push on the timings, on the up. First of all, ByuN has 1-1 versus +1. Combat shields are done just about right now. ByuN looking for that surround. It's a little too early. ByuN still has to play, somewhat carefully, but the Ravens on the north side, Marines looking for a little bit more. This is still a scary position that ByuN has to fight his way into, and the Ravens, one of them will fall. That was a high energy Raven too. But again, ByuN is he's under pressure. Clem's pushing, but he can wait as long as he wants. If Clem does not force the issue, ByuN is going to be very okay with this. He's going to have more stuff. His armory, maybe a little bit late, but that's fine. Again, he's producing more. He has good enough upgrades right now. Okay, stims forward, gets 2 Vikings, damage on the Raven. And Clem, though, unsieges right now. He thinks this is an opportunity as the Marines are injured.
Oh, does he? Oh, he doesn't manage to kill that tank, just barely. Interference matrix is coming on in. ByuN gonna go for the collapse. There are only, well, now only one tank firing for Clem. ByuN gets a massive cleanup on the entire tank force. He's gonna find a couple of medevacs. Clem is in so much trouble right now. He's down 20 army supply. He's down 15, 16, 15 SCVs. He is way behind in the upgrades, or he will be, since he doesn't have the double NG bay or the armory. ByuN with a massive cleanup and is looking poised to punch his ticket into the round of 8.
And I love this as well. ByuN, just the star sense there. He senses there's got to be some harass coming in, right? Absolutely. Clem just can't back up. He knows that is not how this game is won. He knows that's not how Clem finds his way back. So couple Marines on the bottom side intercepts the Liberator. So the Liberator now in a corner. And Clem, his last-ditch opportunity, his I'm not going to say last ditch, but his opportunity, the way he thinks he's going to fight his way back into this game, a bunch of Liberators. ByuN does not have Vikings. He does not have a solid way to deal with that second level of area denial. But ByuN's moving right now, and with only 2 Liberators on the field, Steadfast, it's not a lot, but upgrades have equalized, so the Marines are not quite as dominant as they might otherwise be, even as that Liberator falls.
Yeah, and it's important to note as well that ByuN, even if he doesn't do anything with his push, he built the 4th command center on location. He's got those 2-2 upgrades so far along right now. ByuN is completely in the driver's seat, and he has really been dealing with Clem's style of TVT so damn well.
And if I know my ByuN, that's not going to be a planetary. That's going to be a 4th orbital on that 4th base because, hey, you have the aggression. You have the tempo on the map here. Okay, maybe I'm a little less excited. ByuN, he's going to play the safe play. Planetary on the way. But question now is, how do you leverage this timing? 2-2 is going to be done in about 20 seconds. +2 attack done in 10. You still have to fight into a tank line. That is still 5 tanks right there, Steadfast. Yes, ByuN has a significant army supply lead. He's up 30 Marines. Tank count's equal though, and fighting into a tank line like that, even if you have better Marines, it's not easy. But oh, the tanks are unsieged. ByuN just a little bit too far away to pounce.
Yeah, he's very far away, and that is a lot of tanks. But he's got this secondary army coming across the map. Liberator harass onto the 4th base is, well, it forces a mineral line pull, but not the most powerful. Clem trying to secure a 4th base. I don't think he has any business trying to secure this right now. He needs to really slow this game down, and spreading himself thin is not the way to do it. We are going to see a bit of a jump coming in from Clem, but he's got the upgrade disadvantage. Yeah,
he's trying to buy time for his tanks to arrive and siege on up here, and that will force ByuN back, but it's not a solid trade. And here we go. ByuN taking advantage of that army supply lead that he's had, that upgrade lead that he's had. Into the natural he goes, and yes, there's a tank there, and it will force ByuN back for a time. But look at the position that Clem has on the map right now. The map is not open to him. Yeah, he's got the left side. He took that 4th base, kind of, but he's losing gas in the natural. And this sieged up position that ByuN has, especially as he rotates over, he thinks about rotating over, well, there's just less room that Clem can exist. And with these tanks as they are, rallying army from the main base onto your 3rd, that becomes difficult. That being said, Liberators are here. ByuN should be, doesn't quite have the pickup, but here's the problem. Into the 3rd base here, Steadfast. The tanks will fall.
Yes, they will. So many Marines here for ByuN. They are 2-2. The 2-2 of Clem is about to complete, but ByuN might just go for the kill on this base. Actually, Clem does have this 1 tank in the back, and it will be able to outrange the tank of ByuN. Clem is desperately trying to hold, but he loses the 2 Liberators. The Orbital Command getting very low on HP. It will survive for the moment, but it's now a 40 army supply lead. SCV starting to fall. Clem is going to lose the command center. ByuN gets out with a full medevac. Clem gonna try and jump on this position. We'll be able to take down the 2 tanks, but that's so many Marines on the backside.